What's up, guys? Coach Ryan here. So, if you sit at least 2 hours a day or more, sit down in a seated posture, 2 hours or more a day, this one is for you. Stick around. My name is Ryan Sanders, lead coach, owner of Project Fresh, and this is our Monday Lunch Live. And for over the last 13 years, I've assisted people in taking control of their health, optimizing performance, and building sustainable habits that stick. So, as a certified strength and conditioning specialist and a certified sports nutrition coach, I've worked with everyone. I've had the opportunity to work with athletes, to busy professionals, to busy moms, to a lot of people 55 to late 80s, mid late 80s, to kids as early, I think, as young as 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm coaching them through the science and the real world challenges of fitness and nutrition. Now, kiddos, the biggest thing is just keeping them active, right? But for us that have what I'm going to talk about today, this is where this is going to pertain. So here I share these stories, the lessons, and the systems. We have systems to get you where you want to be and keep you there that make the long-term wellness possible. So that's our focus here at this Monday for this Monday Lunch Live with Project Fresh. And so our topic is, as I mentioned, combating our sitting culture. Now, I do want to define two things here. One, I'm going to be a little bit more definitive. The other one, I'm just going to be a little bit more conversational. So, combating, or short for combat, to fight, to oppose, to struggle against something vigorously. Keep that in your mind. And then the sitting part, we sit. We're tied to technology, our phones, our computers, our laptops, our tablets. That's what I was after. TVs, right? So we're often sitting. Now, if you're working, if you have a corporate or a business, either a corporate role or a business you're running, chances are it's tied to a computer. If you're out and you work, you're out walking about, you're at a grocery store, you're packaging things, you're doing landscaping, manual work. This isn't going to apply so much. This is more for those that are in the desk job and the long days and the seated posture. And the reason why I used sitting, versus sedentary is because sedentary, often the thought is lazy or sitting all the time, not active, I don't do anything kind of thing. Whereas sitting is more focused, fixated on I'm doing something, but I have to do it while I'm in a seated position. I have to be seated to accomplish whatever the thing is, which often ties to all those different roles I just spoke to: corporate work, building a business, tied to some kind of tech, right? So that being said, got that out of the way. Why are we combating this? Well, we have to be very intentional about it. Like I said, if you sit 2 hours or more a day, there are certain things that are happening to your body that you're not probably most likely not aware of unless you've covered this. And that has its impact on you when you try to go work out, when you stand up and you all of a sudden feel lightheaded, when you stand up and you feel really stiff. Am I knocking on any doors yet? When I try to go out and do the weekend warrior thing and I come back battered and bruised, feeling like, oh, that was a bad idea, right? I go sign up for the Spartan 5K. This High Rocks thing is all the rage. Maybe I should go do that. Oh, my friends are doing CrossFit, whatever it might be. And you go do a weekend of that, and then all of a sudden you're hurting, you're in pain. I don't have any issues with any of these things. I do Olympic weightlifting. I've run many Spartans. I like to go out and do stuff on the weekends. But if it comes at a cost, something's wrong. Well, a lot of that has to do with our sitting. So what happens when we sit? Well, I want you to try something really quick. You're sitting. I want you to sit up nice and tall, right? Okay. Now I want you to just relax. Just completely let everything relax. You should slunch back, right? Hopefully not forward, maybe forward. But I want you to go back to that upright posture. I want you to think for a second, what muscle groups are actively helping you sit up tall? Now, if you're thinking it might be your abdominals, that's a pretty common response. Some people will also say your lower back. Both are somewhat true, but there's something that's actually more active than your abdominals or your lower back. I want you to think about it, see if you can get a sense of it. Start feeling around. I want you to take your thumbs and put them on your pockets, wherever your pockets would be if you don't have pockets. You're just going to go from your pockets towards the center of your leg. And do you feel that big tendon that your thumb keeps running into? Can you feel that there? That is your hip flexor. And that is what's helping you sit upright. And if you keep that bad boy tight all day long, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be really tight. If you don't stretch it, if you don't strength train it, if you don't do anything to it, but you sit at least 2 hours or more. I know some people that are doing 10 to 16 hours a day sitting, and that doesn't even account for if you have to drive where you have to go to drive back to where you started from, home, hopefully. That those sets of muscles are going to be very tight. They're going to be pulling on your pelvis. They're going to be causing your lower back all kinds of trouble. And that is a common issue, hip flexors. Now, what's the thing that we're sitting on? The glutes, right? The butt, for lack of better terminology. And so there's this thing called glute amnesia, right? Where or dead butt, I've talked about this before, where the glutes are deactivated. They're not online. They're not working. They're not functioning. So if you've got really tight hips and if you got really deactivated glutes, that's going to cause all kinds of problems. And it shows up in different ways. I'm not going to get into the technical aspects of it. The bottom line is that we need to be very intentional about opening up and strength training our hip flexors. We need to be very intentional about activating and strengthening our glutes. That's something I'm even currently working on, getting mine more active, more open, more addressed, because it impacts our knees, it impacts our lower back. Does anybody have a aching knee or two that's giving them problems right now? Does anybody have an aching low back that's giving you problems? What happens when you go to the doctor? This is point number 2. They just say, oh, cortisone shot, right, for the knees. Or maybe you should do some physical therapy. And you'll go to the PT, and they'll give you some movements to help you redress the pain, maybe help you if you can't do one of the daily activities that you're supposed to be able to do. And then before you know it, you're back to hurting again. Well, that didn't work. What do I do now, right? So with that being the case, we got to address those areas that are deactivated. We got to address those areas that are really tight. We got to get the abdominals, the core back online. We got to stretch out the lower back, make sure that it is functional, that our spine, from the lower spine to the upper, lumbar, thoracic, cervical, can all move. We call it articulation movement, right? Flex, rotate, bend, some different words we use. And with that being the case, that's going to make a huge difference. But we have to be intentional. We have to combat the sitting. Well, Ryan, I got to get my work done. Yeah, same here. I got plenty of hours of work to do day in, day out. Absolutely. I hear you loud and clear. Got to get paid. Yep, same here. Those things are constants for everybody. And I'm not saying this, it's not to deprioritize that it isn't important. It is. Absolutely. Those things are important. I want to hear you on that. And that is something that we need to do, obviously, to live the lifestyle we need, support the families we want to support, etc. However, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of priority. Where can we shore up in those things so we can allow ourselves the time to prioritize addressing this issue? And so that's number 3. That is a part of the combating. 1, we got to be aware about it. 2, we need to be intentional about it. 3, we absolutely have to prioritize it, because if we don't, 1, the pain's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. Knees are going to start to break down. Lower back's going to start to break down. You have other dysfunctional issues. You're going to compensate with how you move, and you're going to have more doctor's visits. That's how it goes. I have helped strength train an individual in their 60s who runs marathons that has bone on bone in their knee. Now, if you've heard bone on bone, there's a spacer that's worn down in there. And so the bones are literally touching on impact. And that causes some pretty severe pain, if you will. It can cause some severe pain. Often results in, at some point in time, you can wait long enough, some level of knee recovery, knee procedure, a knee replacement. So if you don't want to have to deal with that, even though our science has gotten better, you don't want to deal with a shoulder replacement. That's 9 months. You don't want to deal with a Achilles tendon tear or an ACL tear. common injuries. Those are 7 to 9 months. And you want to be active and you want to get out on the weekends and have fun. DECAs, Spartans, walking, running, biking, hiking, fishing, pickleball. Pickleball is huge right now. Everybody's playing pickleball. All my clients seem to be playing pickleball right now. That one will get you if you're not ready for it. Your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, those aren't ready to go. Pickleball will tear you up. I've had a few clients talking to me or telling me that they have seen others faceplant or nearly faceplant themselves playing it because it's fun. You get into it, you get competitive, and all of a sudden you go for a ball, right? So whatever it is, I won't belabor that point, and I'll wrap up here. We do need to be very intentional about our sitting, this culture of sitting that has us tied to these things, right? It's not that's a bad thing. It's just that we do not realize the impact it has on our body if we don't, first and foremost, increase our awareness, and then two, become intentional about it, creating a plan and doing something about it. Number three, prioritizing it, no matter what, setting yourself up. So anything between where we started and where we are now, we're like, okay, what do I do, Ryan? Drop in the comments sitting, and we'll get connected with you. We'll create and cultivate a plan. Make sure you have accountability built around that plan so you actually do the things. And more importantly, when you see the results, create protocols and standards. So protocols are things you do on a regular basis, right? Routines, we call them routines as well. And standards, meaning how many reps, how much weight, how often do I do this, to not only get you the results, but also keep the results. Because the second we feel good, everything's great. I don't have to do those moves anymore because now I feel great. And then all of a sudden, 6 months, 12 months later, you're right back to where you started, right? It's the same thing with fat loss, right? Lost all the midsection, feel good, look good, the summer, all the photos, 6-pack, 2-piece, looking great. And I'm not talking about 2-piece as far as like chicken nuggets, like you're wearing the bikini, right? You're wearing the board shorts and no shirt for the guys, or the cool, whatever the shirt might be for the guys. And everything's good. And then 12 months go by and all of a sudden next summer goes and you're like covering up. What happened? The things that got you there, you stopped doing. You went back to old patterns, old habits. Voila, old body is right back. Same thing here. So I'll leave it at that. If this is useful, please let me know. Drop some feedback in the chat. Otherwise, drop sitting. If you know this is an issue and you are actively trying to address it, I'd be glad to sit down with you, do a quick call, and make sure that you have everything you need to move right along and move forward. All right, so this is Ryan Sanders with Project Fresh. We're here every Monday from 12 to about 10, 15 minutes into the top of the hour during lunch and Mountain Standard Time, or Mountain Time, 11 o'clock on the West Coast, 2 p.m. to address that 2 p.m. slump on the East Coast. And for all of our international folks, this might be a Monday or a Tuesday launch live. Thank you for watching it as well for those of you that are international. We appreciate you as well.